Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Monday morning the 14th of April and we're going to Tennessee today. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Summer Wells. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about the disappearance of Layla Santanello from Kingsport, who was last seen in June of 2023. Summer's case and Layla's case are not related at all, but amongst the characters involved in Summer's case, over the last couple of days, there's been some kind of overlap in the drama. Now, Layla's case has had its own fair share of drama. People attacking Layla's mother, Jennifer, which I think is out of order. It's just wrong. I have done a few videos about Layla in the past, but I've not talked about her for quite a while. So let's publicise Layla's case amongst this. So this video is a little bit of a mishmash of stuff that's happened over the last couple of days. It involves yet again the battle of the Beach Creekers. It all starts there.
And Fred done put the word out to him. You say my name again and he'll kill him.
Let's start with the most recent stuff and work our way backwards. This was Prayer Garden of America from the last 6 hours. And yet again, Molina Crawford was on there. She's almost like Prayer Garden of America's co-host because she's on every single night. And she gave us some potentially explosive information about Summer's case. A couple of weeks ago now. This has been going on for quite a few days now. But the explosive information was that Candace, Summer's mother, rang Molina at 4:37 p.m. on June 15th, 2021, the day that Summer disappeared, saying that Summer was missing, giving a completely different story to the established script, which she's gone all over the media talking about. You know, the planting of the flowers and the candy from Grandma and going in to see her brothers, going down to the basement, Candice going in 2 minutes later, and Summer just completely disappeared. But the 4:37 claim that Candice knew at that time that Summer was missing makes sense in relation to some of the other stuff that we've learned about the case. And I've done recent videos on all of that, so I'm not going to go over that again, but go and check out my recent videos in the Summer Wells playlist. Got over 600 videos now in the Summer Wells playlist, all the way back to the beginning. So if you want to trace my route through the Summer Wells case, just start at the bottom and work your way up. They're all in order. And you can put them in your own order. I think you can shuffle playlists and stuff. Anyway, I digress. So there has been a little bit of kickback to that. There have been some people who have criticised Molina for saying all this stuff and it being in contradiction to some of the stuff that she told the creator Lips a while ago. So we always have to take what all of these Beach Creekers say with a grain of salt, whether any of them are telling the complete truth. Draw your own conclusions. But they were talking about Jodi Sue. Now, Jodi Sue is a controversial character. She was a neighbour of the Wells at the time that Summer disappeared. She's made herself a target. She's made herself sound very suspect by some of the things she said. We're going to get to Jodi Sue's latest hysteria in a minute. But this is what Molina said just 6 hours ago.
It's over.
They
Andy's
say,
married to somebody else.
my family called the cops on every fucking body.
And
no, they didn't. My family never called the cops. I've never
They
called the
should have.
cops on nobody. Do you know? Yeah, I know she has. She called them on my brother way back in the day.
No,
Way
I
back
said
in the day.
you should have. You should
Oh,
have.
I could have. Yes, I could have. But she called the law on my brother way back in the day. Way, way, way back in the day. She was the law caller from fucking day one. She is a law caller. So, and then for her to get mixed up in this shit and not call the law or speak to the law, you know something, she's being paid well damn good, or something is going on that she's part of it, and she don't want her ass to go in there and be somebody's bitch.
It's a good point. Now, there has been claims in the past of Jodi Sue being some kind of police informant. I don't know whether that's true. I have no idea. But that aside, this is a really good point. If Jodi Sue's willing to break the Beach Creeker Code and go to the law, why did she not go to the law when she knew that her then partner, Andy Bernard, was supplying drugs to sedate the girls at 110? She can twist it all she likes, as she tried to do. She's tried to walk back what she said. She was angry. She was angry with Andy because he was talking to creators. She's got a massive problem with Andy coming out talking, and I'm suspicious of that. I really am. Is she scared of what Andy might say? Is she scared that Andy's getting too in with too many creators and he's going to let stuff slip? You have to ask the question. Why did she not go to the law when she knew that Andy was supplying drugs to the people at 110 to sedate the girls so they could be touched? Why? And she said, I'm not standing in front of him anymore. Which is a very strong implication to say she was standing in front of him and protecting him in the past. It's an open question, but that was a very good observation by Molina. So I had to go to Jodi Sue and find out what Jodi Sue had been saying. And actually, this is where the Leila Santanello case comes in, because what Jodi Sue was talking about here, and I have listened to all of this, it was probably one of the shortest live streams that Jodi Sue has done, so I was able to watch it without falling asleep. From one mother to another, Jennifer Santanello. Ryan finds truth continues to use our abuse. Jodi Sue is crying that Andy has appeared on Ryan Finds Truth, and he has been on that channel before in relation to the Summer Wells case, but in this particular video, they were driving around Kingsport, and I'll show you a little clip in a minute, looking for potential search locations in relation to Leila Santanello. Jodi Sue made a direct appeal to Leila's mother, Jennifer Santanello, to, I don't know, stop Andy from being involved in searches for Leila, because Andy has been incredibly abusive to her, Jodi Sue, and their children in the past. And I absolutely believe that Andy was abusive. I think there was abuse on both sides, but Andy has admitted that he hit Jodi Sue in the past, and I've no reason to disbelieve either of them. I've no reason to throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak, and say just because Jodi Sue behaves suspiciously that she wasn't abused. I'm not going to do that. I'm absolutely not going to do that. But this was a little bit of hysteria on Jodi Sue's part. And again, it's about him talking to creators. Listen.
Firmly what these people are actually about. And it's not really about him. This is a mother of a daughter who still suffers greatly because of this monster, who will carry the scars. No closure. Watching this man use all of these creators to target her, even those like voices behind them all and others. Annabelle, Smiley, Dido, Sage, the rest. Put out cute little thumbnails insinuating she's murdered or kidnapped somewhere, though she was barely a teen at the time. Monsters used, or other child here too, recordings of this, that, and the other. all he's about is using these children one way or other, trying to get claws in, trying to cleanse self. He was always really proud throughout all the decades from the first time he ever hit me when we were kids till now. Well, he always proudly proclaimed what he did. He abused thoroughly in public, physically, mentally, screaming, and otherwise. He loved it. He loved the attention he got. And the people who turned blind on us, they would be okay with it. Or he can script out his own little scripts and act his own little manipulative plays for it. He loved it.
And that's horrific. Look, Andy is absolutely no saint. Andy is a suspect. In my opinion, I know the law has said that Andy isn't a suspect. And what Fred Hill has been saying about Andy being on the road at around the time when Candice and Summer may have got home on June 15th, 2021, and behaving suspiciously, that's all according to Fred Hill. And I honestly think Fred Hill's got it wrong. But like I said, these Beach Creekers, there's probably some truth in everything they've said, but then you have to try to find the little grains of truth amongst a giant haystack of, I don't know, irrelevant or untrue information. This is why this case has become so marred and muddy, and why you can't even get a true sense of the timeline. But it does make me wonder why Jodi Sue has a problem with Andy talking to creators. And so I went to Ryan Finds Truth. I wouldn't normally have watched this video simply because of the title. Does Leila Santanello psychic lead reveal Summer Wells' locations? I wouldn't normally have watched this. Anything that says psychic in the title, I tend to avoid it. And Ryan Finds Truth does get involved with psychic stuff. But, you know, he's out there searching. He is actually out there looking for locations to search and joining search teams, and I have to give him the credit for that. So in this particular video, when was this? Just 2 days ago, him and Andy Bernard were out and around Kingsport looking for locations to search for Leila Santanello. So let me just publicise Leila's case a little bit here. So Leila was last seen on June 27th of 2023. She was 20 at the time. And this is Kingsport PD on their pages about Leila. What have Kingsport Police Department done in the investigation? So there were 30 search warrants. They conducted a search of an address in Dale Street that was the residence of Leila and her boyfriend Michael Thompson. Now, Michael Thompson has been arrested in this case, not for Leila's disappearance, but for the horrible stuff that he did to her family. Really horrible stuff he did to her family. But they've done a number of searches, you know, involving drones and infrared, canines, things like that. Not related to the Holland Snap case. We all thought, including Jennifer Santanello, thought that there could be some connection between Holland's case. I've done videos about Holland. I did a video quite recently about Holland, actually, so go and check that out. Holland also disappeared from Kingsport in 2023, October 2023. But the cops haven't been able to find any links between the two cases. And I think we know what happened to Holland. I really do think we know what happened to Holland. But it's getting that evidence. So there's a bunch of agencies been involved in her case, and they're still pursuing leads. Call 423-343-9780 or 1-800-TBI-FIND. So Leila was last seen June 27th, 2023 at approximately 6:15 a.m. in a field next to the AmeriCourt Hotel on American Way in Kingsport. This is Leila's last known location. This is Kingsport. So this is Leila's last known location, the AmeriCourt Hotel. And there's a bunch of kind of fields, woodland, you know, that stretch away from the AmeriCourt into the more rural areas. Leila was having a lot of problems. She had problems with addiction, and she wasn't in a good place. and she'd spent the night in this hotel. Her behaviour was very erratic. She left this hotel, never to be seen again. Now, there was some confusion in the months immediately after Layla's disappearance. Somebody who works at the Marble Slab came forward and said that she'd seen Layla barefooted. She gave her a drink and some food, and this girl said she was going to go and buy some flip-flops. So that was kind of the last sighting. But it was found that this girl was actually not Layla, it was someone else. According to Kingsport PD, early in the investigation, detective and agents believe she was last seen at the Marble Slab. Based on several witness statements, detectives and agents followed the lead and eventually learned that the woman who was seen at the Marble Slab was not Layla. They confirmed that information through phone records, as well as identifying the woman and interviewing her. So the last location was leaving the Americourt Hotel, and she's never been seen since. Michael Thompson, absolute lowlife. No evidence to suggest that Thompson is related to Layla's disappearance. However, he was charged by the Sullivan County Grand Jury with extortion and identity theft based on evidence collected throughout this investigation relating to the Cash App requests that had been sent to several of Layla's family members and friends after she was reported missing. Absolute lowlife, sending some horrible information that, Layla would be chopped up into pieces if they didn't, pay this ransom. Absolutely horrible. Horrible. Anyway, back to Andy and Ryan finds truth. Now, I watched this video and I couldn't see any truth in Jodi Sue's claims here. That Andy was using this opportunity, the case of Leila Santanello, and then that Jodi Sue then appealing to Jennifer Santanello, one mother to another, to somehow intervene and stop Andy from getting involved. But I didn't see any sign at all of Andy using prior abuse in this video. He was actually very useful. He knows the Kingsport area very well. So he was directing Ryan on where to go and likely places. I'll just play you a minute here. The audio isn't very good, but you get just a feel. Get a feel for this.
Get away. That's what I'm thinking too. Is that a dirt road? No. Turn around. I don't know, did you get sketchy vibes from anything in here? Not really.
Okay, so they went to the lake back here. Which pharmacy did they go to? Back there?
Which one?
Pharmacy?
Yes.
They went to
CVS.
That. So they went out to the lake, they went to that pharmacy, they went to the hippie house. Take me down here and show me where they live.
See, Andy was getting confused. He ended up talking about Summer's case rather than Layla's case. So they kind of meandered into Summer's case, hence the title. But Andy was directing Ryan around the area, places where somebody could go and hide a deceased person, either Layla or Summer.
Yeah, that used to be the golf store, and that's how golf shit driving range.
Okay, that's the golf place.
K&G Golf. See,
Totally open. You know what those big lights are? Is that like a baseball field out there?
Yeah, it's the football field in south.
Okay.
Or tennis court.
So, you see, Andy's local knowledge is useful. If someone went missing in my immediate area, because I've got a lot of local knowledge, I could help people. I'm sure you could if you know your local area really well. You know all the little rat runs, you know all the little shortcuts, you know all the little areas where no one goes, which is not obvious at all to people who don't know the area and just looking on maps. Absolutely impossible. That's why I like these videos, these kind of videos where people are driving around areas, because it just gives you a feel for stuff that you can't get from maps. Anyhow, so it's a bit of a puzzle why Jodi Sue has got all upset about this video. And, I wonder whether Andy and Jodi Sue are hiding something. Jodi Sue has let it out that Andy saw Summer's dead body. And I wonder whether it's not Layla's case that's the problem here for Jodi Sue. It's that they meandered into talking about Summer's case and hiding Summer's body. And maybe she thought that was too close and that Andy would let something slip. I don't know. Jodi Sue is a funny old duck. But I absolutely cannot see how Andy was using his prior abuse of her in this particular video. And it was this video that Jodi Sue was upset about and appealing to Jennifer Santanello about. I don't know. It's just suspicious. It's really suspicious. But let me know what you think in the comments below. And I'll see you in the next video. Well, you were bad. So you can't go in.